and salutations, guys. Welcome back to the Under Budget AV Club. It's your main man, JV. Joined by the usual guy over here.
Hey guys, Snaps, aka Alpaca Green. Nice to be back. Don't have my locks anymore. My power's gone.
Yeah, it's been a lot. You have changed.
I'm more sophisticated since I'm a stepdaddy
Not
now.
on the same side anymore. We also got two people's in here.
It's me, KP. Yeah, happy to be here.
So tell us about you, like where you from, what's your interest, what you
Okay,
doing?
cool. Okay, from I guess. Yeah. What else do you want to know? Besides?
I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you do? What are you into? What are you into? What's your favorite movies?
Oh,
you know.
Horror. That's my thing. I love horror. Very bloody, gory. I do like the cheesy stuff too. Yeah.
Have you seen *Malignant*?
Yep. Loved it. Even though it was very it was in your face.
Yeah.
It was in your face, but I still liked it because I knew that.
You see *Malignant* with us? You saw *Malignant*?
I didn't see *Malignant* with you guys, but I saw *Malignant*. I haven't been around for a minute, y'all. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway, grab topic. So today we're talking about Men. We went to go see Men.
Not like at a strip club. Like
Not at a strip club, but yeah, it was interesting, right? Was it from the trailers? Did you think it was what you
No.
thought it was gonna be like?
No. The synopsis, the trailer did not match up to me. I thought I was getting something a lot different, but I liked what I saw for the most part.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna have like a little bit more of a narrative.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was gonna have like matter of fact, I thought it was gonna be focused more on like I guess the general concept of like toxic masculinity, I guess, where it was more focused on one individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more general and not so individual and specific.
Yeah, it was kind of personal.
So I made sure that after watching the trailer when it first launched, whenever that was, to wean myself on any information going in.
Mm-hmm.
Got into the movie. Very visually stunning in terms of like surrealism when it comes to, I want to say like old timey tree demon god, whatever the heck that was, but it was nice.
Oh yeah, some awesome,
Awesome visuals.
Yeah, awesome visuals.
Oh,
Beautiful.
This is from Zoe Clark Williams, actually.
And from the reviews I read after seeing the movie, I don't understand why people are not huge fans of it. I don't quite get it. It was amazing. It was something new. It was something fresh. Even though it's like, JV said there was no broad narrative in terms of toxic masculinity, and it focused in on one person. It made sure to hit those specific points of what that abusive relationship looks like and how it was manipulative. And it even came in towards the middle and end of the issue that I think her name was Harper was having, to show that this had been going on for a minute. Like this wasn't something new. So you couldn't go into the theater and be like, oh girl, give him one more chance or blah blah blah. Like he tried his best. Favorite character in the movie, probably the preacher, because he is just.
Oh yeah, he had a nice. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, nah, that dude, he had a nice subtlety to him.
He did.
He had a nice subtle, I guess
vibe, so to
yeah, like
speak.
maliciousness to him. Like you knew what he was about.
As soon as you saw him, like you could tell like there's something off about him, and it's great how he portrays himself as I'm on your side. I understand what you're feeling, but when it takes that sharp turn, and I'm not gonna spoil the movie for you guys, but when it takes that sharp turn, when a scene is happening, you can clearly tell what he's truly about.
Look at the wrong man.
I hope that's the way. Oh wait, there's another one?
Yeah, I remember I was smoking.
Oh.
Like that, but yeah, this one that's about Alex Garland. Oh, okay. I was like, This movie was weird.
Oh God.
No, I hated the preacher. I couldn't stand him because I immediately knew that he was up to something. I could tell. Like I just like gross. But what was the man's name? The Airbnb host or whatever. What was his name?
I forgot what his name was. I want to say like it wasn't Gregory or something.
But he was very like.
Dang, yeah, it's so hard to pick his name.
Oh, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
right
Jeffrey.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. He was the one that really, really, really surprised me because I thought that he was going to be the only one that was actually on her side.
I mean, he held out for the longest time.
He
though.
did.
Yeah, for the longest time.
And he actually did help her in certain ways.
Yeah, but
Well, one of the great things I feel like that were good about the movie that had me from like the get-go that I was like, he's gonna turn, is the fact that he played, or they deep faked his face on multiple aspects of the people that were portraying the abusive relationships.
oh yeah, I like the actual,
So that's how I
Rory Kenner. Rory Kenner.
That was his name?
Yeah, Rory Kenner. Yeah, he was nice.
that's how I knew Jeffrey was gonna like be kind of off, because if that's the first character you meet. 2, he's the nicest, but 3, you got to look at his face is on every other man in the village that's deemed like an aspect of that abusive relationship. He's the calm and, or the storm, the calm and the storm, so to speak, like the eye of the storm. You know, they say it's the calmest until it's not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry, like we're getting a little close to spoiling this. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
So, but the only negative thing we can say about this movie's pretty good. Like it does have good imagery. It gets its message across very well. I love the relationship actually in this. I mean, it's a little bit like fanciful. Like it's like I don't know if anybody. It's an extreme.
Yes.
It's very extreme reaction, but like you can boil it down to its base elements and get like, okay, what it's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But the only thing I can say is that I didn't like is that there's some pacing problems on it. I feel like there are some parts of this movie that were just, I know this movie is not about the narrative and it's kind of like all metaphor, all, symbolism, but there was parts where I was like, hey, Alpaca, why is she doing this? Like, why is she here? What's going on right now? Why? I mean, I guess because you're going into it and you're not expecting it to be so metaphorical. For a little bit, you're like, okay, you're like, okay, I get the story, and it's like, oh, there's not a story. You know what I mean? And it kind of meanders a little bit in that little area before it starts really hitting you with hard imagery. Where you get those like the preacher scene and stuff like that.
I also feel like up until the shit hit the fan, like when it came down to it, like towards the beginning of the movie, the character didn't really have any like survival, like no instinct really, like no sort of survival ability. And you would think, coming from an abusive relationship that had been going on for who knows how long, that you would pick up some red flags. Like, once again, not to spoil the movie, but like if you were to go to a village instead of Airbnb or whatever, and somebody said, oh, no need to lock the doors,
Nope.
that's a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Like, nobody in the village locks their door. Like, no, fam.
Well,
But she was also going to the village to get away and to feel free. So the idea of not having to lock your doors probably appealed to her, and she was just like, "Oh, this is great. I never had this." But you're right. You are supposed to. That is a red flag.
I also feel like that may fall on like a location type thing. Like, I'm not gonna say where we live, but like where we live, there's no way you're not locking your doors. So if I were to travel like anywhere, I'm like, of course I'm gonna lock my, like, it's just a natural reaction, like to secure what you have, for me at least.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
But did she lock her door?
She
Still?
did.
She still locked it,
She
though.
did.
Okay.
At the toward when she had the first encounter, she did.
Okay. Before that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just cross over to spoilers. We got any last thoughts about this? Would you recommend it to somebody?
Yes.
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Like I joked about being traumatized at the end of the movie, but those were just jokes. The movie is really good.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yes, I would recommend.
Closer to the end of this. But
I
yeah.
would definitely recommend.
Like
Yeah.
if you're a horror lover, like horror is my favorite genre, as I've mentioned several times on the channel, guys. If you're a horror lover like me, I definitely recommend you go see this movie. Not for like, you know, like your generic type of horror. Like in terms of horror fitting an aspect that many people go through in this world, and having it actually be, you know, personified into something physical that could actually be taken down by the person that had been experiencing it. Because I'm pretty sure many people, you know, have that thing going on in their life where they were like, oh, if it was tangible, like if it was physical, I could actually beat it up and be done with it. That's the type of horror that this is. Like it's like a wish me well type horror. So I recommend it. Me personally, I love it.
I get where you're coming from. I would recommend this to people, but I would maybe focus this on people that are used to that A24.
Yeah.
Like who have
Because it's not generic.
like a taste for that. Yeah, because it's not generic. Because I feel like if you were going into this expecting like the James Wan era horror or you know the Conjuring type era horror, you might be like, nah, because of that beginning, because of how tranquil the beginning is, and how there's like not really any kind of you know, tangible threat. You know what I mean? I can see somebody being like, this is boring. You know what I mean? Until it picks up towards the end. You have to be able to pick up on those vibes pretty early.
It's,
you know,
it's one of the movies that, you know, like we're pretty famous for watching on the channel, where it's somewhat of a slow burn before you get to something that's truly terrifying. And even when it's something like we've all seen a movie called what was it, Midsummer.
Yes.
So Midsummer, even when its parts are horrible, it fully takes place in the daytime. Like it's in something you would deem like picturesque. So if you haven't seen any horror movies where it's like a slow burn before it gets to the point like it's not horror for the sake of being horror, not that there's nothing wrong with that. It's essentially like an art house horror film.
Yeah, a little bit more like, you know, the horror takes their time, leaves you in those uncomfortable situations for a longer period of time,
and then progresses forward and jumps back to
the
it.
uncomfortability is kind of the horror aspect of it, like just that anticipation, the build up. I like that because I never like get squeamish or anything like that inside the movie theater, but that one made me like just those tense moments. Oh
okay, so yeah, we're gonna get the spoiler section. So if you're still with us, right, true thoughts about this movie. Yes, we'll get to that. We'll jump right onto that. The end of this movie is wild. It's wild, right? It's wild, right?
It
definitely something I haven't seen before.
Yeah, it was a very tranquil film for a long time. Like she's just kind of walking through the forest, kind of just enjoying her life after her like abusive thing with her boyfriend saying I'm gonna kill myself. But yeah, the whole having the birthing.
Oh man.
I think that's what I meant with the pacing being weird, because parts of that was gratuitous. I'm like, okay, I got it the first time. I didn't need you to do it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree that after the first time, it was kind of like, okay, we get it, but I understand why they did it that way. So it's kind of like, did we need it? No, but
you're working your way through all the characters to get back to like to say, okay, this character right here is actually just her husband. He's just a stand-in for things that her husband would say to defend himself. And, I get it.
Yeah, and it was, I guess, kind of like, because it was men giving birth to other men, just constantly passing down all that toxicness. Yeah. And just continuously birthing it, and that I like that aspect of it, but we didn't need to see it like multiple times.
Jumping on that as well. I feel like my interpretation of like the men giving birth to men was also a representation of like when it first happened, on top of like the audience being shocked, like Harper was shocked as well. She's like, oh man, what the fuck is that? But the more that he, like, the men gave birth to men, eventually she just became indifferent to it. And that's what happens in an abusive relationship. At first it's shocking, but the more badly you get treated, the more that your mind is to protect itself, or it's like, I'm just used to it at this point. So that's why when the progressive births happened and like we got tired of it, she was tired of the shit too. That's why she
turned around.
Yeah, she was like, at first she was like, no, and then she was like,
just watching and like, okay.
That was another aspect, another angle that I like to see it from. It really was a good movie, truly.
I think like that actually was carried out throughout the movie, because when you first get introduced to like the like naked man demon thingy, which we have to get to that. We have to figure out what that is exactly. We'll figure out that. Okay. But like when that happens the first time, she doesn't necessarily flee, right? She doesn't run away. She kind of just turns around and like walks away from it, right? And she's just like, I mean, towards the end, she does go to a part where she kind of like panics and like climbs up the thing. But even still, she's not like rushing away from it. You know what I mean? She's very much like, she's just avoiding it. You know what I mean? And I think that
coping with it, so to speak.
Yeah, just kind of coping with it. Like she's when she's confronting these different like guys that are invading her space, and like she's never like running from them. She's always just like dealing with them or avoiding with them or trying to talk them down, or you know what I mean? Like if they're supposed to be standing for her husband. You know what I mean?
She never even gets like super upset or like aggressive or anything like how she did in the scene with her husband.
Yeah.
She never did that outside of like being panicked and like worried and calling her friend, but she never physically got aggressive or
So one aspect that I did like, just jumping on topic real quick, is, and it's sick in terms of like if somebody were to actually do it, but when the husband was saying that he would kill himself if she divorced her, that was a very powerful and beautiful part. Not beautiful, Aaron.
Was it? Yeah.
It was well directed, so to speak, because it shows like the power shift. And like people on the outside looking in, they're always like, well, if your relationship's abusive, why don't you just leave? Okay, that movie did a great job of portraying, why people don't just like opt out. Like the whole power struggle or shift, so to speak, where he was like, if you divorce me, I'm gonna kill myself, and my death will be on your conscience. Like it won't be on mine because I'll be dead. It'll be on yours. Like normal people, they can't just live with like a nigga going, I'm gonna off myself if you try and leave. Like that was a whole process that she had to,
And it ended up happening.
Right, because even though that she said like, no, I got a life too. That's not gonna be on my conscience. It still ended up on her conscience.
Yeah.
That was very well directed.
Like they. I don't want to be redundant because I feel like I keep saying this every single video, but A24 is getting so good at this freaking taking real life scenarios and turning them into horror movies. Like, I'm waiting to get burnt out on it, but they keep doing it in different ways. So I'm always like, okay.
They're not getting stagnant at all. Like, I would love to go on to their film festivals, truly.
Yeah, because it's great. Like the ending, when her husband is finally revealed as the last dude, and she's like, "What do you want from me?" And he's just like, "I want you to love me." She doesn't even say anything. She just like rubs the axe blade. You know what I mean? Because like at that point, she's not even feeding into like the back and forth anymore. She's just like I can't even give you that. So like, I'm just like, yeah, you talking nonsense at this point. I moved on, right? I do wonder what her friend being pregnant.
I was wondering about that too.
Mean. I was very confused about the friend's meaning in the movie. Period. In the movie being so metaphorical, what was her friend? What was the meaning of her friend?
Well, I guess. I think possibly because there was so much like greenery around, she always wore that green jacket. It could just represent like some type of new birth, a new coming of something. and her friend was the one that came and kind of saved her, and she took her away from that terrible situation that she was in at the little Airbnb with a new life as well.
I guess I get what you mean, because if we saw the men give birth to each other, and it end up in like toxic masculinity, right? Then it would make sense that if her friend was nurturing her throughout the experience, that she would give birth to, you know, her as a, you know, more confident woman that's moved past this trauma that she's had before. You know what I mean?
Well, they also did not explicitly mention in the movie, or even if I remember right, didn't hint at that her friend was with anybody or had to be with anybody, or you know, or anything like that. Yeah. So another form of portrayal for it that I saw is like if you essentially, you know, bring like a different mindset or somebody that's nurturing or caring into the picture, it stops the birth essentially. Like it stops the cycle from passing on. You know, like if you can take all the pain and the hurt that's been passed down for generational curses, as they call them, and you can be the one to end that and break that, you know, then that would be good.
She was kind of like her safe haven throughout the entire movie. She was the one that she was calling on when stuff was happening. And she was willing, her friend was willing to come down and help her and take her away from that. But Harper, she somewhat resisted it. I feel like she did that because she wanted to do it on her own.
I could almost think that her friend was supposed to be her inner voice, like kind of encouraging her to enjoy. Because like it's kind of all she was saying was, like, you deserve this. Like after everything you've been going through, like you should, like, you know. I think she was never encouraging her to like push past it or like that. She was like, don't let them ever like, you know, ruin your time down there. Like you've worked for this. I think that was her internal voice. Yeah. Like speaking to her basically. You know what I mean?
I also feel like going back on my opinion on what I said earlier, that there was one aspect of the movie where I feel like she did protect herself, and it was just instinctive. And I don't even think she realized she did it. Is when she was talking to Jeffrey at the beginning. I can't remember which part came first. I'm pretty sure he said, you don't need to lock your doors around here. And he was like trying to get to know her and asking her all this information. And he was like, do you play the piano? Yeah, she lies. He was like, do you play the piano? And she was like, no, I don't. And then when her friend called her on the phone, she was like, oh yeah, I play piano really well actually. Like she was trying to limit the amount of information that he got about her in order to protect herself. Because she didn't know him. And he had to, you know, the iterations of the forms of abuse that she was experiencing from her husband. If you'll notice, it was like a break me down, build me up, break me down, build me up thing between everybody else and Jeffrey, because they were trying to paint the picture that Jeffrey might be able to be trusted. So that was something that was cool, because eventually she just started relying on him and telling him everything to the point to where she even followed him outside in the middle of the field. And initially she would not have done that, but she fell for it. So that was pretty nice to see. That was cool as well.
I guess that was like, if Jeffrey's a stand-in for her husband for a lot of it, then I guess that's like a depiction of their relationship, where he would be nice sometimes and then he would be like dark sometimes, and she would kind of get strung out but those good moments, you know what I mean, and almost ignore the negative parts. Because there are certain times in the movies where people would say or do things to make her uncomfortable, like the preacher touching her leg, or the guy or the kid calling her a bitch, but she never really like she didn't even get that mad. She didn't, like, when you touched her leg, she didn't say anything. She just kind of just like, and it had to have made her uncomfortable because the movie like shot it in a way to make it uncomfortable. Like they drew attention to it, right?
Right. When he gripped, they made sure to like get in on like the sound and effects of him like strongly gripping her thigh.
Yeah, and she didn't say anything, but the most she ever said was when he was like, "Oh, why'd you drug him to it?" And then even still, she sat there and let him freaking keep saying stuff to her, about it. Like she like, "You say that," and then he was just like, "Oh, well, you know," and then she got it. She walked away from it.
Yeah, that's that. I like that aspect, and that's why the preacher is probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, because I like that aspect of You know, like I see it as an aspect of her like husband or whatever, where he's like talking to her after they didn't had a fight or after he didn't probably beat her ass or whatever. And you know, he's talking to her and saying all this stuff, but even though he knows he's in the wrong for what he did, because he's physically putting his hands on her and he had no reason to, like, it wasn't in self-defense, it was just because he's angry. But that's him turning the situation around to make it her fault, so he does not have to feel bad himself. That, I feel like that's what the representation of like what the words the preacher said are, because he said, you must, you know, he's consoling her, he's telling her all of these things, he's like da 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 da, but he ends it with, man, you must be wondering why it's your fault. Yeah,
because that is the same thing her husband did, but I also think that it's kind of parallel to like how we navigate in the real world, how women do kind of deal with a lot of uncomfortable situations and they don't say anything, they just laugh it off or like continue to deal with it and then move on. Or even just how he inherently tried to make it seem like he was caring for her and consoling her, but he still turned it on her in defense of her husband, the man. And that's also part of the toxic masculinity.
And like, I guess now that we're reading into it so deeply, there are a couple of other parts in this movie that do kind of, I guess, mimic, I guess, what would be like the day-to-day life of like a woman. Because you get like the boy of when she's like, he's like, play with me, she's like, no, and she, and like all she says is no, and he's like, oh, you're a bitch. You know what I mean? But then like that's like what you like stereotypically get, like when you try to holler at a girl, like, hey, come hang out with me, or like, you know, come be with me, and he's like, nah, and they're like, oh, go to insults. You know what I mean?
And jumping off that point is, man, I keep interrupting, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good.
Jumping off that point as well, I'm just trying to get these thoughts out in my head. Like when he called her a bitch, and the preacher, you know, came in and he was like, how about you, you know, you scoot along or whatever. And then he was talking about it. She was like, man, what's his issue? And he was like, oh, he has a troubled past. That's an excuse. And that's what a lot of people do nowadays, for, you know, like the whole, oh, men will be men, boys will be boys. Like they make excuses for them instead of making them take accountability for their actions. And like, yeah, you know, since we want to be all encompassing in case somebody gets offended in the comments, yeah, women too, blah 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 blah. But this movie's called Men, and we're speaking about men because it's about men in this situation. So yeah, there was like, he made an excuse for him, which is what a lot of people tend to do with men, instead of making them hold, you know, accountability for their actions in situations involving women, making them uncomfortable, where they don't feel safe, where they don't feel right, where they try and coerce them into shit, where they, you know, try and put fear in them, essentially. Stuff like that. Like people get in positions of power and they feel like they have the right to abuse it. That's where, you know, that's where the preacher comes in. He's looking like the good guy coming in behind the boy. I'm done. Sorry.
No, and I think like going back to your point, I think every male character did that in the movie. They either defended each other, made an excuse, or like kind of just let it roll off. Like when the police officer said that he let the man go.
Yeah, you're right.
And she was like, why would, like, she was kind of shocked that she was wondering why he would do that when clearly something happened to her. But he's like, oh, he's harmless, he didn't even have any identification or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing.
So this movie actually like balances this out pretty nicely for me, because I don't think it steps into this, like, it's not lazy about its critique. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a man, I don't feel attacked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel attacked. And I'm very much like, you know, okay, I'm very much like in the middle. Like, I'm like, okay, like females can fuck up, niggas can fuck up. It don't matter. Like, Giant didn't ever hurt, you know what the fuck. Right?
It's mostly
like,
just about people.
Yeah, it's just much about people. Like, you know what I mean? So, but this, I don't feel like this isn't attacking all men or whatever. This is literally attacking. This is literally looking at one relationship, and looking at certain aspects from what a female might experience. You know what I mean? And like, it's not even doing it in a terms of saying like you're all like this or whatever, right? It's just saying like, it's like, hey, let me put you in the shoes of what a woman might go through. You know what I mean? Disguise it as a horror film, and it kind of lets you come to your own conclusions about stuff. Because none of the characters in this movie were like cartoonishly evil.
Yeah.
Like I think my favorite one was actually the housekeeper, because like he was the least aggressively like kind of like, you know,
like you're safe here, you know.
Yeah, not
let's
safe here,
jump
right.
back to the whole breaking down, building up type thing. Like everybody else broke her down, and when they broke her down, he came in and built her up, and then so she could trust him more.
but you even saw him trying to step on those boundaries while he was being a nice guy, like nice guy. Everybody
like
else,
testing it.
everybody else was like kind of like sharp with their stuff, like where they would like cross that border. He was kind of like trying to be like, I'm being nice. He was like overly
Is that nice guy
nice.
syndrome then?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
very much.
that's what
Very
incels
much.
feel
That's-
like.
it's nice
Yeah.
guy syndrome, and like, but it was played in a way that like I could see somebody watching this movie and be like, I don't see what the heck he did wrong. He was just being
Yep.
a nice guy, like, you know what I mean. But I can see somebody being in there and be like, okay, now I get why that would come off like that if I'm like that, or if my friends are like that. Like, I'm thinking I'm just being a nice guy, but like I'm not needed. You know what I mean? It's the
Right.
same ways as if a nigga was trying to help you out and you was like, no, I want to help you out. You'd be like, nigga, back the fuck up.
Right.
like
Like
yeah.
it's a difference. It's a difference between being courteous and then just being straight up like, you know,
A creep.
enforcing your help on somebody who
Yeah,
really honestly does not need it.
Yeah, the niceness comes with some type of I want something from being nice to you, or I'm doing this to get something in return. It didn't come across as genuine.
Right, and honestly, and this goes out to like the guys that we're focusing on a movie called Men About Men.
Yeah.
In case y'all want to get offended, I'm a man too. In case y'all can't tell, I know it's been a minute, but truth be told, if you are interested in a female, just, you know, approach her, let her know that you want to get to know her for more than just her physical looks. You don't have to pretend to be that nice guy to get something from her. And if you face rejection, just be a man and be like, okay, you know, that's a setback. Walk away. You don't gotta pursue her or nothing. You don't gotta play the game of cat and mouse. So, yeah.
I second that. You know what I mean? Like, I say just be honest out here, to be quite honest. I mean, to be quite real. Like, if you on host stuff, say you're on host stuff. If you're on loyal stuff, say you're on loyal stuff. There'd be a lot of people that's out here looking for different things. So, but if you let mugs know that like what you want and they down for that, then don't nobody get hurt, don't nobody get fucking like manipulated, don't nobody go down badly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like that's all it is. Like you just gotta be straight up, and that's like the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
as a woman, I agree that I've always just been this way in general, but yes, when people are honest about their intentions, it just makes me feel so much more comfortable and better. And hey, we might go further than you might have thought, than just for being more honest about your intention. Yeah.
Also, be aware of what your intentions are. Like, before you go out and pursue and, you know, try and get with somebody or whatever, actually, like, sit down and think. Get that post-nut clarity. Like, sit down and think. Like,
For sure.
do something. Like, actually, I feel like a lot of people, like, don't take, like, and not to, like, generalize another group of people. I ain't gonna get too off topic, but I feel like a lot of people jump from relationship to relationship to relationship or whatever, and they don't sit down and truly get to know themselves and what their intentions are. So they go after something, and, you know, it could be like you just going after sex and you end up loving this person, but that's not what they want because you didn't make your intentions clear. And the vice versa could be true as well.
Yeah.
You're going after a relationship and it turns out you just want sex after getting to know this person. Like, people need to sit down with themselves more, actually think about who they are and what they're willing to do. And, you know, it's a lot. If we speaking specifically about men, like, if you let a woman know that you really only here for the sex, you'd be surprised how many would be willing to, you know, work
Yes.
with
That's
you.
what I'm saying.
Women want sex as well.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
if that's
Yeah.
not what she wants and she finds it disrespectful,
Yeah.
then you as a man, like, you, or just as a person with a decent amount of respect, you should be willing to walk away. There's no need to cuss her out or anything, you can be polite and say thank you, and she will probably respect you more for making your intentions clear and just walking away.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end this off. To be quite honest, we spent too many facts on this. This is too factual. This is too factual. I'm glad we had everybody on here. I'm glad you gonna come around for another one.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to come back. I enjoyed myself. I like this.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Hope you guys enjoyed the life lessons with the Under Budget AV Club.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys at the next screening.